Need LASIK? Trust the experienced team at the LASIK Center at Evergreen Eye Center. No glasses, no contacts, no limits. What will you do? LASIK at evergreen.com.
Moving 92.5. Brooke and Jubal's second date update.
Today's second date update is kind of confusing because Louise is on the phone and she emailed us to do a second date update, but in her email she says that she wishes she would have never went on the date.
What?
So I don't know, Louise, do you know how second date updates work? Usually somebody goes on a date that they actually liked and then they want to get another date.
I know.
Okay, so why do you wish you wouldn't have gone on your date?
It was just like a bad snowball effect. So my friends and I went out the night before this date, and I think that started the whole problem.
Okay. Really? Did you meet the guy when you guys were out?
No. Okay, so I met James on Tinder, and we set up like a Sunday brunch date. Like, it was at the beginning of the week, so it like made really good sense.
Right.
But my girlfriends and I went out Saturday night, and they were like, oh, we're just going to get a few drinks, and we're going to sit outside. And Russian mules turned into gin and tonics. And next thing I see is like really late.
Yeah.
So you were hungover then, and that's why you didn't want to go on the date, because you were hungover.
I was totally hungover on hard liquor.
Yeah. I mean, that's the worst, too. Whenever you say you're just going out for a few drinks, it never really works out.
Yeah. So the next day, I really didn't want to because I felt horrible. Like, my stomach was not in the best. And I was like, okay, it's way too late to cancel this date. I'm going to be like a horrible person. Like, I just decided to go out anyway. I was like, you know what? Just pull it together, drink something, and go.
Okay. Right. And this is like the one time you're hoping that your date is also hungover.
I was really hoping that. But when I met James for brunch, he's like, all nice, put together. Like, just like, hi. And I'm just like, holy heck. Like, this is going to be rough.
You're just holding back puke the whole time.
Oh, my God. And I can smell you. Like, just even thinking about it, I can smell you.
It was like the hair, the bags under the eyes. I had the whole hungover look put together.
Did he know immediately, or did you address it?
I didn't want to, honestly. Like, I was trying to fake until I make it. To be honest, like, I just didn't want to be like, oh, yeah, I totally didn't think this was going to really happen. So I felt bad. So we're sitting there, and we just started getting into stupid arguments. Like, we had a 20-minute argument. Like, I feel really ashamed of it. Whoa. It was like the stupidest thing in the world.
Wait, so you guys were like legit arguing or like playful?
Like, we were legit arguing. No, like, people were staring at us.
What? Wait.
That's not a good sign.
What were you arguing about?
About brunch. He was like trying to qualify what makes brunch brunch. Like, what is the guidelines and the definitions and the structure for brunch?
And you couldn't, like, that sounds like a fun conversation. But
He was like, well, brunch is anything you eat on Sunday morning. And I was like, no, it's mostly about the food. And he was like, no, it's about the time. And I was like, no, it doesn't matter. So it just kept heading out of control for every little thing. And I'm hungover, and like, I'm not making sense.
So if you weren't hungover, could you have had that conversation in a more playful manner, or you were just hungover and like angry?
I think I was just hungover and angry.
Okay.
I was angry because I wasn't home in my pajamas, to be honest with you. Like, it wasn't his fault, and it was just stupid. It didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
And I just like felt so guilty if I would have canceled, but
So you figured show up and yell at the guy for a little while. That'll be better.
There you go.
I didn't mean to. I felt really bad.
did you guys recover at all from that?
I tried calling him and texting him, and he's just not getting back to me. Like, I'll be honest, when we got out of there, we were just like upset. Like, even when the food came, we were just eating angrily. You know, like when you have an upset stomach because you're hungover and you're like, upset and you're still eating.
Oh, that sounds
The
terrible.
worst.
I
Okay,
bet
so the whole
nobody-
date was awkward then.
It was awkward. It was just like, I don't know. Like, I feel really bad about it. Like, he just didn't deserve that.
So you liked him, though, and you want to redo? Is that what you're saying?
I do like him, and I want to redo, and I know it was immature, and I try to apologize, and it's just frustrating.
Did you tell him that you were hungover and in a bad mood?
No, I really just didn't want to tell him that. Like, I'm kind of ashamed of that.
So you just let him think that you're just a terrible person that likes to get mad at people over brunch.
Yeah, a little bit.
Smooth.
Okay.
I tried apologizing. He just won't pick up my call.
All right. Well, we'll play a song and then come back, see if we can get him to pick up our call and get your second date update, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right, hang on.
Moving 92.5. Brooke and Jubal in the mornings. Second date update.
If you're just joining us for today's second date update, it's less of a second date update and more of a first date redo. Because Louise is on the phone and she wants to call a dude named James. They met up for brunch and she went out the night before, got super drunk with her friends, showed up to brunch hungover and was kind of in a bad mood. And then they got into a heated argument over what qualifies as brunch. I know it sounds ridiculous, but she said that she was really rude about it, and they kind of ended the date after they ate. He hasn't been answering any of her phone calls, so she wants to call and apologize and see if there's a chance at getting another date with him when she's not all hungover and ready to just fight everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Louise. Would you give a guy a second chance if the tables were turned?
I mean, if it's honestly had like a good excuse, yeah. I mean, I didn't give him my best, and I understood that, so at least you kind of know.
Yeah, and drinking too much, always a good excuse. It usually gets you out of everything. A lot of empathy in that one,
Makes you
too.
sound fun.
Yeah.
We're human. We can make a bad choice once in a while.
Okay.
Like, we're not perfect.
All right, well, I wish you luck.
Thanks.
All right, well, I'm going to dial his phone number right now. Here we go, okay?
Okay.
You need a drink first, or are you good?
I'm good.
All right, here we go.
Hello?
Hi, may I speak to James?
Yeah, this is James.
James, what's up, man? How are you? This is Jubal from Brooke and Jubal in the Morning.
I'm sorry. Who is this?
Jubal from Brooke and Jubal in the Morning. It's a radio show.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
so do you know? Have you heard the show before? Or
I don't think so. I'm sorry. This is a radio show?
yeah.
What can I do for you?
Well, you could listen once in a while. That'd be cool. But other than that, we actually got an email about you from one of our listeners.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we do a segment on our show. It's called the Second Date Update. So we got an email from a girl named Louise.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna say you probably remember going out with Louise.
I do remember going out with Louise.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she told us about your date. She says that it wasn't the best representation of who she is. And she wanted to not only apologize, but say she really liked going out with you and would love to get another opportunity.
So she's doing it on a radio show?
Yeah, I know. It just sounds like she doesn't make the best decisions, but we do a lot of these.
And she said that you wouldn't answer her phone calls. Like she had tried to text you and apologize, but she got desperate, basically.
Yeah, I've been just trying to avoid that whole situation.
Yeah, I can understand that. She did tell us about your date. I would love to hear from your words, though. What'd you think of Louise?
I kind of felt bad for her.
Oh, really? Why?
Like maybe she needed more than I could give her
What do you mean?
right now in my life.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Like,
I don't know what her situation is, which is why I'm trying to be careful with what I say because I don't want to misrepresent her.
what do you mean what her situation is?
Okay, so I show up to brunch and I like a brunch date because it's a lot less pressure and it's during the day.
Uh-huh.
You get to sort of see people when they're just being normal. And so she shows up and she looks like she has not gone to sleep. She
Right.
basically didn't go to sleep all night.
Yeah.
Right.
She smelled very strongly of alcohol and she was pretty disheveled. And I don't think people need to dress up for a brunch date, but I can't really explain it, but it was like the farthest away from being dressed up you could possibly be.
The farthest away?
Like she barely put on clothes?
Yeah, I mean, no, she had clothes on, but it looked like maybe she had them on for a couple of days.
Got
Okay.
it.
All right.
Your first impression was not a good one, is what
It
you're
was
saying.
not a good one. So we were having brunch, and she's just in a bad mood, it seems. Like she's arguing with me about stuff and kind of put me on the defense. And so it was just kind of awkward. And then when the food came, she just scarfed it down in silence.
Oh, man.
So then we sort of just decided that was it and walked out, and we went our separate ways. And I saw her walk around the side of the restaurant and throw up in a trash can.
Oh,
So-
God.
It's not a good look usually.
Those
Yeah,
days.
that's the lasting impression.
And, well, that's not it. And then she got into the back seat of a car with no one else in it. And I think just like laid down in the back seat of a car.
What?
And so that's why I was like, does she live in her car?
Maybe that was her house. Yeah, her house was just
Homeless.
parked in the parking lot of the restaurant.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so that's why I'm trying to be sensitive about it, because I don't know if she
Oh,
is homeless.
you actually think she's homeless? I thought you were
Well-
just like making an analogy or something.
I mean, the evidence just kept piling up. I mean, I think she might actually be homeless.
Yeah, pretty much what you described sounds like a homeless person.
Right.
You know, if she was arguing with an imaginary friend, then you could be sure she was homeless. But what you described does sound like a homeless
Just scarfing
person.
the food down? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
we
Just a bad attitude, angry, smelly, dirty, and then sleeping in her car.
Yeah, it's like I don't judge her. We've all got our problems in our lives. I feel like I can't help somebody through a situation like that before even knowing them,
Right.
romantically at all. So I feel like it's like it was a little too much for me.
Well,
and how
I
do you
don't.
explain that to someone? Like, do you say like, "Hey, I don't want to date you because you're homeless"?
Exactly,
Like,
because I should have said something, but I didn't because I just didn't really know what to say.
I think it's good you didn't.
Well, I don't know if she's got a home or not, but she does have a cell phone, and I know that because she's actually on the other line and wants to talk to you.
Oh God, really?
Yep. Louise, are you still there?
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Like, I have had the worst time listening to this. It's amazing. Like,
Oh my God, Luis, I'm so sorry. I had no idea you were on the other line.
are you serious? Did you honestly thought I was a homeless person?
Listen, I'm really sorry. I did not mean to sort of out you like that. I didn't know if you have people who you know who don't know.
No, like, I'm serious. I'm not. Like, I swear, I'm not homeless.
I know people have a hard time admitting it. I get that, but I am not judging you. I swear.
No, listen to me. I am not homeless. Like, you're borderline rude now. I went out the night before with my girlfriend. I had a little bit too much to drink, and I was trying to pull it together. So I showed up. I was hungover. Yes, it was really bad. But, okay, yes, I threw up on the side of the restaurant because I wasn't feeling good. And then I went, I took a nap in the back of my car for a few hours.
You just took a nap right there in the parking
man.
lot.
That's a hangover.
It was bad, okay? It
Yeah,
was
no,
bad.
I'm not judging. I've been there before.
Yeah.
James, do you believe her? Like, I can't believe that we've gotten to a point where she's trying to argue that she does in fact have a home.
Well, you can understand sort of my concerns because you didn't tell me any of this. You just sort of showed up, and the way you were eating your food, you were eating it like you hadn't eaten in a couple of weeks. And that was surprising.
Honestly, I just wanted to stop arguing. So I ate and didn't want to talk. I ate a little too fast. Obviously, you know that, I threw it up because I ate way too fast. I did that.
And I wouldn't judge a woman's eating style, homeless or not. Just saying, James, for the future.
Yeah, it's just from my perspective, you have to understand that I think anyone would have seen what I saw based on how you showed up and the way you argued with me and the way you ate and the way you threw up and the way you slept in your car.
James, have you ever had like a bad day? Like, it was just a bad day.
I get it now. It's been hard to unpack the whole thing, I guess.
Look, I'm really sorry I showed up the way that I did. It was not my best at all. I just didn't want to cancel on you. It was totally last minute. You were going to be mad at me if I canceled on you.
Yeah, that does make sense. I wish you would have said something and we could have rescheduled,
Looking back on it, I really wish that too.
At
Well-
least you guys are on the same page for one thing.
How about this, James? Would you like to go out with Louise on a second date? We will pay for it.
What is that
not a
laugh? Oh my God.
I mean, if you guys if you wanna sponsor a date, I would love to.
Well, I think Louise might need a sponsor in something, but we don't know for sure yet until you go on another date with her. So that's a yes, Louise. If you can clean it up for at least one day.
I promise I won't go out the night before.
Congratulations, Louise. You got your second date.
Thanks. I'm sorry that I showed up looking like a crazy person.
Nah, not crazy. Homeless. Difference. I mean, a lot of times they're the same, but, in this case, different.
Homeless
Yeah.
person. I don't want to be rude to any homeless people.
They're not listening. It's fine.
Brooke and Jubal in the morning.
A lot of people can identify with today's second dater. It's Brooke and Jubal in the morning. If you missed today's second date update, Louise wanted to call this dude named James. She showed up to a brunch date and she was completely hungover and not in a very good mood. Also looked pretty disheveled, I guess. They ended up arguing, actually, about what qualifies as brunch. What time is brunch actually?
It's a good debate.
And she apparently got actually really upset because she was in a bad mood because she was hungover.
Yeah.
But she didn't know that James ended up seeing her throw up outside of the restaurant and then fall asleep in the back of her car. When we got James on the phone, he told us that he thought she was maybe homeless and in denial about it. She claims that she's not homeless. She just had a really bad night and wanted to take a nap in the back of her car after she puked outside the restaurant.
Bad
You know,
timing.
when you
Yeah.
recap that date, it's amazing that they're going out again.
Yeah.
It really
Like all of
is.
it. Like even if he didn't think she was homeless, like all of it. Sounds horrible.
He did give her a second chance based on the fact that he likes to be charitable, I think.
Yeah.
Really. And just help people out.
It's a write-off.
Yeah. Remember, if you want to do a second date update, all you have to do is email the show and we will call the person who didn't call you back.
Moving 92.5.